What's up, everyone? Super Auto Gaming here, and today we're actually going to be doing a tier list. So I decided it was probably time enough. I don't even think I did a tier list for the first original pets, but we might as well do it for all of them. And we're just going to get right into this because this is probably going to be a long video. So we're going to start at the F tier. I'm also doing this a bit differently. I added an E tier because I wanted C tier to be basically the most I guess, balanced units in my mind. So we have three down here, three up here, and then the ones right in the middle. So we're going to start it off with Cockroach, 1-4 with no ability. Pretty bad. Oh, I guess one more thing before we get into it is how I'm basing these off of would be how they are, like when you first buy them, the turn that you can buy them, what their base stats are, and their longevity, how well the units do as the game length goes on. And here we are with Cockroach. It's just bad. It's just really bad. You don't want to keep it more than like one or two turns. I guess like two turns because you actually want it to its ability to pop. 1-4 sticks with 2 attack. It's just not good. You can't keep it through very long in the game, so that's why it's here in F tier. Basically, never want to take it. There's normally better stuff. Unless there's just 3 cockroaches on board, you might take them, just because it's a triple. We got Frigate Bird or Frigate Bird. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's really, really bad. Almost never use it. You might as well just buy a peach. Like, it only affects hurt units, so not good at all. We have Jerboa, unfortunately, down here in F tier. You just never want to use it. It's never more viable than even tier 3 scalers. Even Bluebird, I think I'd rather have Bluebird over Jerboa. The problem is that you need apples, and the only way you can get them is just randomly in the shop or use a mouse, but that's not very consistent. It's very inconsistent. And speaking of inconsistent, we have Komodo, the worst scaler. I think it's even worse than Jerboa. At least Jerboa, if I find an apple, it's not going to mix up my board. Komodo is awful at tier 6. It should not be tier 6. Either that or it needs to be buffed heavily. Like, in my mind, it's probably like a tier 4. So it being tier 6 is really, really bad. On to E tier, we have Beetle. Green Beetle has been nerfed into the ground. Before, I would have probably placed it at B or A tier because it affected all the pets in the shop. Now it only does the leftmost. Yeah, not that good. Crab also nerfed into the ground. Only copies 50% at the start of battle. Before, Crab would have, again, been at B or A tier. Not anymore. It still has some uses, like stuff in E tier can still be used. It still has its case uses, but overall, you kind of want to avoid them. Dove gives strawberry pets +2/+1, 2 of them. It's pretty damn bad as far as strawberry units go. Normally, you just want something way better. Cassowary's better. Hummingbird, pelican, anything is really better with strawberries. Like you can leech Dove. I did a combo like that, and it worked out okay. But I mean, there's way better combos. Koala, not that good. It used to be good, and then it was bad, and then it was broken, and now it's bad again. So it's really lackluster. But honestly, tier 2s aren't that good, but there's so many better ones. And speaking of tier 2, we got Tabby Cat. Honestly, Tabby Cat could maybe go in D tier. That's another thing. Like, I think if they're within one tier of each other, I could easily see them being swapped. So like maybe some in C might belong in B or B belong in C. And that's the sort of thing for Tabby Cat. It's probably the best in the E tier. Maybe Porcupine is better. But 5-3, it's got good stats. That's really the reason. And it gives 1 attack to everything when it eats food. But the problem is you got to keep feeding it, and it's only temporary stats. Badger, oh yeah, E tier for sure. It used to be like S tier, no doubt. But now it costs 3 times as much to get what an old Badger used to be. That's a really, really bad. Okapi, when you roll, get stats. If it wasn't capped out at 5, we might could get it to D or C, but it's capped. And honestly, it's good if you're looking for a lot of stuff, but I think if you're just normally playing, not that good. And most of these I'm gonna look in the perspective of arena, not so much 1v1s. So keep that in mind. Porcupine, when it takes damage, deal damage back. It's like 6, 12, 18, or something. The problem is that they both have to live. And honestly, that doesn't happen too often. The best case for porcupine is from snipers. So, a leopard hitting it, crocodile, lynx, puffin, whatever it is, vulture. That is when it really comes into play. But as far as like a unit that you could take all the time, no. It's a very tech-based unit. It'd do much better in 1v1s, but even then you probably won't want it. Hyena. Hyena works really well with Komodo, but they're both E and F tier, so probably not going to do too much. It and it's got a weird ability. So level 1, you can swap all the attack and health for both teams. Level 2, swap the positions of both teams, and then level 3, it does both of those. So I guess, I mean, clearly it's better than Komodo. At least you can predict what's sort of going to happen, and it will mess up the other team. So that's why it's an E tier, not F. Moving on to D tier, we have horse. Horse is probably one of the worst tier ones, other than, of course, cockroach and beetle. At least it works with summons. So without a doubt, you're always going to have it at least work with like cricket, some of the early summons like with sheep, honey. So all of that, I'd say it works out. You can take it sometimes. Frog. The only really use for frog, I would say, is its level 2 ability, where when you sell it, you can swap the stats. That's my favorite ability for it. So I would say for that alone, puts it in D tier. Pig, it's a 4/1. You can sell it for 2 gold. It's like a buy sell. It's not really that good. 1 health is really bad. If it was like a 3/2, it would be insane. But with 1 health, it goes into D tier. But I mean, still good. You can still pick it up. It's gold efficient. Puffin, 1/3. It's a strawberry unit. However, you have to buy a bunch of strawberries before it actually works. Now, if you had like a full team of puffins with all strawberry, like, yeah, you'd do some damage. But, you have to invest into the puffin and invest into the strawberry, and then you only get 1-2 damage attack. It's not that good, unfortunately. But like I said, it could be C tier, but I think it's D. And that goes with Wombat as well. You can't predict what the enemy is going to have, so you could easily just have a Wombat invested and they don't have any feint units, so it does nothing. And for that, it's in D tier. Yak, 5 or 3/5. I can't remember the stats. It's a big boy, but at the end of the turn, it does 1 damage to itself. You really have to pair this with a cucumber. You have to pair it with koala. You have to pair it with something else. And for that, I think it belongs in D tier. It can scale fast, but I think there's a lot better units to look for. You don't really want to keep it that long either. It's going to eventually, it's going to be maxed out on attack, but it's going to be really low health, and you can't even get like pepper on it. You can't get melon on it. So for that, it's D tier. Honey bear, or just bear, but it gives you honeys. Honestly, I also think bear could maybe be C tier. The only thing I don't like about it is it removes equipment from yourself. Actually, the more that I think about it, I think it actually does belong in C tier. You can get rid of equipment on the enemy team, which actually makes it really, really good. So C tier for bear. Cassowary, it has the same problem that Puffin does. You have to have strawberries invested, and its ability is just kind of weak. Like, it's nice that it's a self-scaler, but if you want a self-scaler, go puppy. You go bison, you go llama, anything else, they need a lot less. For cassowary, you have to have multiple strawberries once it hits level 2, so you're basically only going to want to have it as a level 1 unless you invest a lot into a strawberry build. But I think it's okay. So you definitely can take it sometimes. And we move on to tropical fish. Tropical fish's scaling is just weak. It's just really weak compared to all the new scaling in the game. So I think before, it used to easily be like C tier, maybe B tier even. But now with the new scaling in the game, it's just really, really weak. And that's why it's in D. Rhino. Even after the Rhino buff, it moved up to from like E tier to D tier. It could be in C because, of course, it is always really good against summon builds, and now it actually does double damage against tier 1 units. But I still think there's just better options. You can always go Hippo, you can always go Boar. I can't think of anything else, but those two are just way better, especially Hippo because it is a tier lower, and I think it just always works out better. Especially because at least if Hippo defeats a unit, it gets stats. If Rhino defeats a unit, what, it does 4 damage? Okay. Yeah, so for that, still in D tier. I think maybe C, but I'm going to keep it in D. Like I said, most of these Ds could be in C, depending on how you feel about them, but for me, D tier. Lion. Now, Lion used to be absolutely absurd. They nerfed it, though, and the biggest problem for Lion, I think if you're a smart player, if you're a very good smart player, it could be C or B tier, no doubt, because it is a very strong unit. However, the problem with Lion is forgetting that you cannot have another tier 5 or tier 6 unit on your team. So you lose a lot of games from forgetting that. Just like, and it's so small too. You end on a cow, you end on a zebra. It's just something small like that you don't think about, and then you lose the round, which makes you lose the game. So I think if you're a good player and you really know your Lion stuff, could easily be C or B. But after the nerf, to me, it belongs in D now. Swordfish, also D. It kills itself. You need pepper. It needs to have higher health, but if you get it to level 2, then it won't really work. It just needs a lot of investment for a tier 5, and there's so much better tier 5s. Piranha, it's like one of the worst tier 6s, in my opinion. It doesn't do enough. Like, takes damage, gives friends behind +2 attack, or gives all friends +2 attack, and its stat line, I think, is what makes it D tier. 12-3. Now, maybe if it was a 3-12, I could see it being different, but no, not a 12-3. Dragon. I think Dragon's still awful. I think it's really, really bad. It only buffs 3 units now. You have to constantly buy, sell tier 1s. So you're not even guaranteed on the stats because you have to find tier 1s. Then you have to buy, sell them. And to only buff 3 units, oh god, it just feels so bad. I'd much rather have T-Rex, Poodle, Penguin, Monkey. I mean, anything else. I mean, something that you don't have to waste stuff on. Let's move on to C tier. We've got Bluebird. After the nerf, I think it's C tier now. Give 1 attack to a random guy. Now that it's random, it's clearly a lot less consistent, but it's still good. Could be in B tier, but I think before it was probably A or S, and I think after the change it could be B or C, but I'm going to put it at the top of C. And also these are ordered from tier 1 to tier 6. It's not like in order of this is the best in C tier, this is the worst in C tier. For second, we have Pillbug. I don't think Pillbug is that good. I think, like, most of the time, like, you're going to get very negligible stats. Like, it's good for the first few turns, but I think, like, past turn 5 or 7, you don't really want it anymore. The 3 health, or the 1 health that doesn't really matter. I guess if it was level 3, then it would be pretty good, but we're basing it off of level 1 stuff here. 1 health, it's just not that good. It's like a duck, but it's not even a 2-3, so... Baby Duck, 1-2. When you sell it, give 2 health to the leftmost shop pet. I think it's just way better than Beetle. It is not a 2-3, but my favorite thing about it is you get to really choose when that leftmost shop pet is getting buffed. And when you get it to level 2, really easy to get to level 2. You freeze a pet in the shop, roll 1, it's to the left, and then you can sell it and get the stats onto it. So for that, I'm going to put it in C tier. Iguana. Deal 1 damage when a enemy is pushed or summoned. Could be B tier, but with the stat line 1-3 and longevity in the game, you don't really want it past, like turn 7 or something. You could, of course, you can always keep any of these pets past these turns, but realistically, I don't think you want it that long. And at level 1, only dealing 1 damage, it can definitely hurt some stuff, rooster, honey, anteater, but I think a lot of the times as the game goes on, they're going to be way more than 1 health. So for that, C tier, very average. Mouse, when you sell it, give the shop an apple and it's free. I think it's pretty good. It's a really good buy sell. You get a free apple. Free apple's nice. Pretty average, so C it goes. Otter is like a mouse. So they're going to be in C together, except you can buy sell it a little more freely. You don't get to choose, of course, where the buff goes, but I still think it belongs in C, especially as it levels up. With it nerfed, that's why it's C tier. Before, it probably would have been in A, but not anymore. Cricket, I think Cricket's just fine. A 1-2. It works well with a lot of units that, like Ox, Kangaroo, Spino, just anything that works off of multiple units coming out. So I think for that, C tier easy. Fish, I think it used to be way better, but like A or B. Now that it's a 2-2, it's a lot weaker. 2-3 stat line is always really, really good, except for you, Beetle. I'm looking at you. I guess maybe Beetle could be D. No, he's staying in E. I don't like him. I guess, of course, I'm a little biased on pets that I do or don't like. I'm looking at you, Tamarin. I'm looking at you, Ladybug. Yeah, so ability still really good. Could easily be B, but I think with it being nerfed, it's going to go into C for me. Frill Dragon, really good with Ant, really good with any early faint pets. However, you got to have a faint pet, so for that, C for me. Beaver, 3-2. I think before, Beaver was probably D or E tier, being a 2-2, but now it's a 3-2. Actually can trade out with Duck, the other 2-3 units, so for that, C. It's got a good ability, too. Giving 2 things 1 health. I like that. It's random, but... Hummingbird. Hummingbird could easily be B tier in my mind. I think it's a bit better than these. Like, it'd probably be high C tier. However, you need a strawberry unit, and I think most of the time when you need a strawberry unit, you have to invest twice as much gold for it, and for that, puts it at C tier for me. Bat, giving weakness is incredibly powerful, but I feel like it's really bad when you first buy it. It gets really, really good as the game goes on because more people actually have equipment. However, in the early, you just don't want it. 1-2 stats are really weak, and by the time you do want it, there's so much better stuff that you can get, like, I don't know, Skunk. We got Dromedary. It was nerfed again, so... Not again, but it was nerfed. So probably before it would have been A or B tier, but now it is very balanced with only buffing the left 2 most shop pets. So, and that works really well with Goldfish. So I don't think it's bad. Very average unit. Could go crazy, but I think on average it's pretty okay. Elephant, much better than it used to be. Oh my goodness, Elephant used to be F tier for sure. Maybe E, but I'm probably F. Now it actually does multiple hits to the same target behind, which means it's a lot more consistent. Overall, much better. I'm really glad where it's at. So C tier for me. Could be B, but I think it's a very average unit. Hedgehog, same sort of thing. Deals 2 damage to everything. Really, really good unit, but of course there is problems for your side and their side. You really have to play to have a Hedgehog on your team, or most of the time it's just going to go in the far back. But again, this is another one that could be B, but it'd probably be in high C for me. Peacock, it got buffed. Used to only give +2 attack. Now it does +4. So pretty strong. You could easily have it in B because Leech, Peacock with Lollipop works really, really well together. However, I think it's just an average unit. C tier. Rat. You know, some people would probably put Rat still in the D or E tier, but I say no. If Elephant, if Peacock, if all of these are going to be in C tier, then Rat belongs in it too, because now it works with stuff, you know, Hippo, Camel, Boar, all that kind of stuff. So for me, C tier. Shrimp, when you buy sell, give random units health. Honestly, I think Shrimp could be higher, but I've said this a lot. Shrimp has a problem where it gives too much health. And you would think like, oh, that's a good thing. Well, not really, especially because you don't get to choose where the health goes. It's random. It's just, to me, it's, I can't say it's too good without making it seem, and then like leaving it in C tier. It just gives too much health when you don't need it. We'll say it like that. Spider, Pilling Spider, absolutely amazing. I do that just about any time I see one on turn 3. Other than that, though, there's not very much that can be done with it, unless like with a summon build. Gives random pets, you don't always want that. But if you do have a custom pack set up with it, then you can like get all the really good tier 3s, Clownfish, Blobfish. that type of stuff, and it'd be really, really good. But I'd say on average, it's average. Toucan gives friends behind the food that it has. The only problem is that it doesn't work with all foods. You know, it has to be a food that it holds the whole time. Garlic, honey, meat. It doesn't work with steak, doesn't work with melon, nor pepper. So can't work with the good ones. It works with peanut though. So, but I'd say for that, C tier. Blowfish. If blowfish is with elephant, like you're gonna see blowfish, elephant, hedgehog, peacock, rat. I mean, it's C tier, man. Camel, same thing. Actually, no, I don't know why camel's here. Camel's, I would say better than that because after the buff giving 2/2, 4/4, 6/6, and being a 2/6, I don't know why it was there. I think it's actually a bit better than there now than the other ones. Kangaroo, though, I'm going to leave in the C tier. It's good, no doubt. I've seen a lot more people using it, and honestly, its strength is still there. However, it just needs a lot to get off the ground. So, for that, C tier. Ox, after getting the nerf, C tier. It used to be absolutely insane. I'm talking A or S for sure. Now the nerf, it really put it in its place and made it a balanced unit. So, for that, C tier. We talked about honey bear. I keep calling it honey bear. We talked about bear. It's C tier. Okay. Leech. If these other ones are in C, leech is in C. You always have to have a unit to have leech hit unless it's in the far front. But I would say leech unlocks a lot of things that weren't in there before. So I really like it. Amazing addition to the game. C tier for me. Ram. It's very classic. It's amazing the turn that you get it. However, it falls off very quickly, in my opinion. But it's amazing to win a couple of rounds when you first get it. For that, I'd say C tier. Rabbit. After they nerfed it to a 1/2, it's C for me. Easily used to be B. Now it's a bit harder to decide. You're losing that 3 attack is really, really bad because now it can't really trade with anything. However, its ability is still amazing and can easily take it throughout the whole game. We got Wasp. When it levels up, or sorry, when you tier up, you actually get 50% attack onto it. Really good if you get it early. However, once past turn 5, so if you don't get it on turn 5, you get it on like turn 6 or 7, yeah, it's probably not going to do you too well. So for that, C tier for me. I mean, there is, of course, Lollipop, but even then, that doesn't change my mind. Seagull, absolutely amazing unit. I love it so much. However, you need a lot for it to work with. You need to have like the high tiered ones. Of course, you can get a melon early by pilling turtle, but you don't really need melon on that many things early. You mostly want it late. And Seagull by itself, trying to buff it up is kind of meh. So, but it's an amazing ability, amazing unit, and for that, it's C tier. Woodpecker, I think, is really good. However, I feel like you need pineapple on it for it to really, really feel good. But you could easily not have it. You could have like garlic on like a blowfish and an armadillo or something, and just hit those over and over again. So it could work with that. I like its synergies, but kind of falls into here with most of the other hurt pets. Same with armadillo. Now, it's kind of weak at a tier 4. You could maybe say it's D tier. This is one where it might go down, but I think it's strong enough with how much health that you can potentially get with it that we're going to say C. I'm thinking about it. It kind of reminds me of Porcupine, but at least like you're always going to get something out of it because I forgot it's a feint ability too. So no matter what, you're getting value from it. Eel, I think, is very good. You just need to have a lot of health on it. Start a battle, gain 50% health. However, it can be killed before the start of battle, which is really, really bad. Dolphin, absolutely amazing. Great ability. Deal 5 damage at the start of the battle to the lowest health enemy. Always been solid. C tier. Donkey, I don't think Donkey's that good, but the push mechanic in and of itself is amazing. So stats are kind of weird. 4/6. I guess it's pretty good stats for a tier 4. However, its ability just doesn't work until much later in the game, and it's same sort of problem with Seagull, I feel. Hawk is really good. It's like a crocodile, except it can go, you can choose where to hit. However, 7 damage breakpoint is only good for a few turns. It stops being good around, turn 8 or 9, which by then you don't really need it that much. But it's a very good tech unit, and for that, C tier. Mole, 1/1 to adjacent pets when you buy it. It's a buy-sell unit. It's a very solid buy-sell. Kind of meh that it's in tier 4, so I think for that, C tier. Orangutan, probably one of the worst scalers other than Komodo and Jerboa, but at least, you don't sacrifice anything. You can just play it for a turn or two, get 4, 8 health or whatever, and just be fine. The problem is when it buffs itself, but you can choose where the buffs go if there's a tie between health. So it does buff left to right. So there's at least that. Before, when it was at 3 health, absolutely unusable. F tier. And when it was at 1-2, I would say it was probably around C tier. Same. We got Platypus. Amazing buy sell. You get a duck and a beaver out of it. Both good units. It's free. So it's just a classic buy sell, I would say. Whale. Whale works really well with some of the new units. However, you still have to have something to eat unless it goes up in the front. But as we've seen, there's a lot of units that either need to have something in front of it or behind it, or it needs to be up front or in the back. So any units that have like positional downsides, probably going to be in C tier. Worm, it's just not that good, man. Even after they buffed it to 3/3, you have to invest a lot of food into it for it to be off the ground. And you have to keep buying food, which is the problem. If it like was a puppy or whatever, I guess puppy you have to spend 2 gold, but even you get 2 gold for 2/2, whereas with worm you buy an apple that's 3 gold for 2/2, and it's a tier 4. So you got to think about that as well. Most of the time there's way better tier 4s, but I'd say now that at least it's a 3/3, I'd say it's fairly average, probably low C tier. Fox, it can steal pill. Yeah, there ain't really too much more there. It can steal really garbage food, and now it doesn't double anymore. In the beginning, I think before the nerf, it used to double at level 1. Now it's just base stats. I think before it used to probably be B or A tier, kind of broken, but now very average. Goat, when you buy a unit, you get a gold. Very good, very average. Works well with buy sell, but other than that, there's much better buy sell units. Polar bear, when you freeze a unit in the shop, give a random unit in the shop +3/+3. I think it's at the start of turn too. So it's random. It's not like dromedary where you get to choose, but it is 3/3 instead of 1/1. However, I think I would rather just have like 3 dromedaries on board than 1 polar bear. So low C tier for me, and it's a tier 5. So ugh. Scorpion. God, my boy, how the Scorpion has fallen. It used to be absolutely insane, but now with the addition of like Walrus, you can get Peanut on your Seagull, you can get Peanut on Toucan. There's a lot more ways to get peanuts, and for that, Scorpion has now become a fairly average unit in my mind at C tier. Triceratops. Wait, why is Triceratops here? I think Triceratops is pretty good. Gorilla. Tier 6. Gorilla's fantastic. It has an amazing late game. However, the turn that you buy it is awful. Basically, for the first 3 or 4 turns that you buy it is dog. You need to either have your entire shop buffed up, or you need to have some serious units to start buffing your Gorilla fast. Because it's got an amazing ability, but its stats at like a 6/9 or whatever, it just, it needs a lot more for its ability to actually work well with it. Hammer Shark, used to hate it. F tier, absolute garbage. But now with its new ability, I think it's fairly average. However, it's still going to go down here with some of the worst tier 6s in the game. 3 gold for a tier 3, not that good. Much rather have a Swan. Sauropod, I almost called it Megasaur. Sauropod kind of has the same issue with Worm and Hammer Shark, but mixed together. You have to buy food, and after you buy food, you get a gold back. However, you got to have like a full food team going, and normally if you have a full food team, you probably don't want to get Sauropod in. You probably have like way better stuff in. So for that, C tier, very average. Moving up to B, we have Ant. I think Ant is pretty darn good at a tier 1. You get 2/1 When it faints, you can pill it. There's mantis in the game. You can use it as mantis bait. There's a whole lot Ant works with. So for that, it's going to stay in B tier. Chinchilla. I think Chinchilla's pretty nutty. You only need 4 Chinchillas to get 2 level ups instead of 6 of the normal units to get 2 level ups. And for that, it has insane value. It's crazy with buy-sell builds, especially with dog. So for that, Chinchilla B tier. Could be A even. Duck, it's a 2-3. 2-3 stats is really good, and it has a good ability. I don't have to buy food to give pets in the shop 1 health. Looking at you, Beetle. So for that, Duck is going to be B tier for me. Kiwi, great with Strawberry. Probably the best tier 1 buffer. The problem is you have to have Strawberry. It would easily be A or S tier if no Strawberry, but it exists. So for that, Kiwi's in B tier. And at least it's a 2-2, so it's not awful. Could be worse. Mosquito, still great. 1 attack, random. 2-2. It's always been pretty decent, and I would say it's going to stay that way. Especially now with some of the tier 1s, you've got Moth at 1 health. Of course, Ant stays there. You've got, Pig. Now even at a higher attack. You've got Horse, Frog. So Mosquito does big damage in the early, and you can easily still keep it into the late to pop peppers and melons. So B tier. Flamingo, cracked. Flamingo could easily be A tier in my eyes. You pill it. I buy pill. Like, I'll buy a Flamingo, keep it for 1 turn, pill it the next turn. Amazing. It's a better salad in my eyes. You can use it for 1 turn. It's got great stats at a 4-2. Could easily be A. I'm thinking about moving it to A right now. It'll be high B. Dodo, absolutely amazing. It's not that good when you first get it. However, if you just keep pumping stats into it, that's all you got to keep doing. Just keep putting stats into it. Don't worry about it. You could easily, I know a really good combo right now is Rabbit with Dodo and Crab. So I kind of coined that, but I'm still going to say it's good. But even after then, you don't have to use a Crab. You can just keep pivoting out units that go in front of Dodo. Rooster in front of it's amazing. You can switch it out to putting it in the front, having something, just a big attack to hit the first guy, like a turtle. It just, overall, it's very flexible. So for that, B tier. Guinea Pig, great value unit. Gives you double guineas now. You can buy 1 and you're instantly at a 1.5 guinea pig. It's just good. Great for level ups. Jellyfish, cracked. I think Jellyfish is really, really good at a tier 2. And that's what you really want, is you want it at tier 2 so you can have it really early. And then you're getting a lot of level ups, on turns 3 to 5, even 7. And it's just getting small stats throughout that. And for that, it's going to be B tier for me. Panda is very much like Emperor Tamarin. However, if you start investing stats into it, you got to keep it the whole game. And for that, I think it's going to be in B tier because you have to keep it. I mean, if I could sell it and get rid of those stats, give it to somebody else, it'd easily be A up there with Tamarin. But, I mean, that's what Tamarin's for. And now, if Panda, when it used to be at 1, a tier 1, that's a tier 2. When it used to be tier 1, it was probably S or A because it was fucking broken. Pug, I love Pug. Pug, Jellyfish, great combo, especially with Clownfish as well. Pug is great. It's super flexible. You can easily pivot with it. So for that, B tier. Could easily be A as well. Stork, better than Spider. It has a longer longevity on the team. Like once you get to round 11, round 11, you start getting tier 5s out of it. You can get Eagle, you can get Scorpion, you can get a lot of good stuff. So for that, B tier. Swan gives gold. It's always been good. Used to be S. Now the stats are kind of weak. 1-3. There's a lot more gold type stuff in the game. You got Goldfish, which I think is arguably better. But still overall very good. B tier. My Son, Snail, 1-1. If you lose to everything, still good. Used to be S tier. They nerfed it into the ground. But I wouldn't say into the ground because let's be real. If you lose and you see a snail on board, you're probably going to buy it. Okay? Could be A. Aardvark, Counters summons like no tomorrow. Love Aardvark so much, especially Aardvark Rat. So for that, B tier. Capybara. It's like a can, but probably a bit better than can. Especially since it has a 2/5 body at tier 3. 2/5 body is pretty good, I'd say. And it pairs really well with lobster, really well with can, any shop buffs. So could be A, but I think for me it'd be B tier. Camel, we talked about the camel, slightly better than the hurt pets now that it's been buffed, so B tier. Giraffe, always been good. +1/+1, free apple every turn. That shit adds up. Used to be a 2/5, now it's a 2/4. Still think it's good. Toad, giving weakness, incredible. Especially at tier 3, very, very strong. The only downside is that you actually have to hurt the unit for it to get the weakness. So not like Lionfish where it just gets it automatically. Gotta hurt them. And for that, B tier. Hatching Chick, beautiful unit. Has different abilities. I really like that. I think they should add a few more like that. So at level 1, gives 5/5 temporary, which is really, really good if you can get that on turns 3 to 5. Even throughout, like even up till turn 9, it's still good. When you level it up, it gives 2/2 permanently, which is really good. And then when you level up again, which you probably don't want to level it up to level 3, depending on what you're doing. But at level 3, it can give experience to the pet in front of it at the start of turn. I think level 1 and 2 is much better, though. Owl, buy sell. It's a great buy sell. Give 2/2 randomly. B tier. Starfish. I think Starfish used to be A tier when it was a self-scaler. Now that it gives random buffs, it's less consistent. B tier. Bison used to be A or S for sure at a 6/6. Probably A. At a 6/6, now it's a 4/4, so it's one turn behind. Think that was definitely needed. Much more balanced unit. Still need the level 3 B tier. Crow, beautiful, beautiful unit. It's worse than Blobfish, of course, but it's good for a buy-sell. You get a chocolate in the shop, so it kind of works with food. I like it. I add it just about to every custom pack. Deer, still amazing. You get the chili bus. You got multiple summons working with it. Deer's always been good. It's going to continue to be good. Could be A, but B for me. Hippo, it used to be like D tier, C tier, up to B now with the buff that it got when it knocks out a unit, gets 3/3. Great. I love counters to summons, so. Llama, it's like Bison, but you don't need the 3/3. However, you do need the space open, and for that, B tier. Lynx, we've got a new sniper early. It's a mid-game sniper. I think it's really good. The only thing that you need is a lot of levels on stuff, but I think that's easily doable. Overall, slightly above average unit, B tier. Could be A, could be A. Microbe, giving weakness to everything, always been good. It's probably going to stay that way. The only reason it's not in like A or S, because I think it easily could be. I think weakness can normally get it up there, is it has no ability past level 1. So you basically only have it as a level 1, and that's it. So it kind of stays really low statted, and I would say it's easily worth it though. So, but for that, stays in B tier. Dragonfly, it's like a worse penguin, I would say. It's really awkward because you have to have stuff at level 1, 2, and 3. And normally you just always want to keep leveling up, but that doesn't always work out. And then positioning is hard. It does buff left to right, but always having to position for levels 1, 2, and 3 gets really annoying. It's in B tier because how annoying it is. Pelican, I think Pelican's great. Only problem, gotta have a strawberry. Honestly, Pelican it would be in the top of B tier for sure. Like tippy top of B tier, even into A. Gotta have a strawberry though. But now that it works with start of battle and end of turn, so end of turn you get a permanent 2/1, and start of battle you get a temporary 2/1. Absolutely amazing. Direct upgrade from Hummingbird. Rooster, always been amazing. Honestly, no. Rooster's gonna stay B tier for me. I still think it's really, really good. Summons chicks the more you level it up. Not much to say about it. Always been a strong unit. Used to be insane. Used to be A or S tier for sure. Praying Mantis, new unit. At the start of your turn, knock out the unit behind it. Or next to it, adjacent, we'll say, because you can put it in the middle and it can knock out both the ones in between. Overall, though, is a very good unit. I think there's a couple problems with it, like, of course, board space issues, and then as well as if you do have it in the middle and it knocks out 2 units, it actually doesn't double stats. I thought it would do that, but it doesn't. And you also can't have triple mantis, so I think for that it's B tier. Croc, amazing unit. Really good for countering a lot of stuff that people put in the back. Badger used to be a big one, but now of course, there's still turkey, there's vulture, there's a couple eagles in the back. There's definitely stuff that you can take out with it. So for that, B tier. Triceratops, don't know why I had it in C. It's a bit better than these other ones, but I would say it's about the same as Camel because it is tier 5, so it's a bit late, and it gives the stats randomly. Shoebill, wide scaler, +1/+2 to all strawberry friends. Only reason it's in B is because you have to have strawberries on everything. Husky, same sort of thing with Shoebill, except opposite. You have to have no food, so that's a problem in and of itself. But for that, B tier. Still solid. Totally solid. Boar, now that it's been buffed into B tier, B for Boar. Used to be around D or E, I would say. But now, stat change, its ability gives more stats. Stats. Those are king, so B tier for me. Fly, after it's been nerfed heavily, I would say. That 4/4, the breakpoints change a lot. So, for that, B tier. Orca has been changed more time than any pet I've ever seen. And now that its current ability summons a faint pet from any pack, I don't like it as much, but they needed to do it because, infinite combos and such. For that, it's still good, but B tier for me. Moose, I really like Moose. Gets a melon before it attacks. However, it can be countered by a lot of stuff. And for that, it just seems like kind of weak at a tier 6. It's like Gorilla, but slightly better than Gorilla. So that's why it's 1 tier up. Tapir works with a lot of stuff. However, been nerfed quite a few times. Before it was easily S, probably S+. Now at its current state, it's random what it gets behind. Can't copy other tapirs. B tier. Saber-toothed tiger, it's changed a couple of times, but with its current one, its herd ability is actually pretty good. You really have to figure out how to use it, though. It's really nice with Panda Saber-tooth with like a hedgehog. That works out really well. You get a big Saber-tooth, and then you immediately get a summon out of it. The only thing I don't like is that sometimes the summon comes in front of it, and sometimes it's behind. So, yeah. For that, B tier. Walrus, we've got a better peanut boy over here. You can pill it, give peanuts to just about anyone. I'd say it's really, really good, but for the most part, I don't want it. Like, I think I'd rather have melon or pepper or mushroom more times than I'd rather have peanuts. Like, if I want peanuts, I probably just want like one. And it's probably only like for one turn type of deal. And for that, B tier. Velociraptor. Could be higher, gives coconut to a strawberry friend, but again, gotta have a strawberry, gotta have it on a friend that's fairly sizable, and its base stats are pretty weak, and it's a tier 6. So for that, B tier. Moving on to A. Finally, we're getting into the good stuff. There's some Bs that were definitely good, though. You can't say these aren't good. Anything above C is good. C is average. D is below average. E and F are just god-awful. So A, we're getting into the really good stuff. Starting off with Ladybug. Fantastic. Always been good. People have denied it for years. The game hasn't been out for that long. People have been denying it for millennia that Ladybug is bad. I disagree. Always been good. Temporary stats. It's amazing for the early game. And you can normally keep it throughout the whole game, but it's very easy to switch off of it because it is temporary. Works really well with Moth. Moth is insane, in my opinion. Gives attack to the frontmost pet, +3, and that can do a lot. I think you can keep Moth for a really long time, and you can really fuck up some opponents' boards who like to put their biggest unit first. You put your put like a kind of weak unit up front. Moth buffs the shit out of it, and then the trades that way. Really good. Seahorse, I think Seahorse is incredible. It should not be a 2/3. It disrupts the opponent's board, which is really detrimental at a lot of stages in the game. And the later it goes on, just the better it gets because the more positioning matters. So for that, A tier, easy. Goldfish, better than Swan. Discount 2 gold for 2 pets. Leftmost works with Dromedary as well. Like they synergize. So I think Goldfish is kind of just better than Swan at most cases. Raccoon, I think it's easily one of the strongest tier 2s in the game. Stealing food off of the enemy is incredible. The amount of times I would have lost, however, my my raccoon steals a peanut or a melon or a pepper, yeah, it goes really hard. Don't think it should be a tier 2, probably should be a tier 3, but the thing about it is you get it really early, so you can start scaling it early, which is the big thing. We got Salamander, the fastest scaler in the West. Salamander scales so incredibly quickly, and with the addition of Lollipop, you can just swap those stats over, and then boom, get a really, really fast big unit. Salamander, easy A tier. Caterpillar used to be S tier until they nerfed it to tier 4. They've changed Caterpillar a bit so it can't be countered as easily. That's why it goes into A tier for me. And still being able to copy your biggest unit, it's just good. Like, it's just so good. You get so many free level ups too. Yeah, Caterpillar's just amazing. Emperor Tamarin, one of my newest favorite pets for sure. You buff stats, and when you sell it, give 50% to the leftmost shop unit. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Once you learn how to use this unit, getting it to level 2 and 3, you really only need a 25-25 Tamarin at 3, and you'll get near a 50-50 unit, like, instantly. So, I think Emperor Tamarin's absolutely cracked, slept on, I would say. We got Puppy. Puppy's incredible with the buff that it got. Only costs 2 gold now to get those 2/2 in stats, which is really good. That's a cheaper pair every turn. Easily worth it. Anteater, incredible. If this unit was in standard pack and it fainted, it would give you like 2 1s with no ability. However, it's in pack 3, you get 2 2/1 ants. Absolutely insane. This can carry you super hard, and it's an amazing summon unit. Buffalo, not in S tier because it has charges. When it didn't have charges, it was broken. It was for sure broken. I thought that when it went down to 3, I thought it was going to be trash. Like, I'm talking, I thought it was going to go down to C tier, maybe even E tier. However, I was totally wrong. It is very strong still, scales incredibly quickly. We got Penguin. Penguin's just always been good. Not S tier anymore in my mind because of its nerf. It can only buff 3 level 2 or level 3 pets now. So for that, A tier. Skunk, incredibly strong. Works much better later in the game than it does like on turns 5 through 7, but you can always keep it around. I would say that anything past turn 11, Skunk just incredibly, or gets increasingly stronger every turn. So for that, A tier for sure. It's kind of broken too when you get it to level 3. Getting the thing down to 1 health and then combining it with like a hedgehog, octopus, it goes really hard. Parrot, so flexible. Still one of the most flexible units in the game. Goes behind anything with the start of battle, anything with a in-battle ability. Still incredible even after the stat nerf that it got, which didn't really matter. A tier. Squirrel used to be awful. Now gives 1 more food and reduces all those foods by 1. Absolutely incredible. Works really, really well with food builds. Easily A tier for me. Cow. Oh, Mommy. Mommy's always been good to us. Gotta be A tier. Could be S, but I would say if Zebra is in A tier, then Cow is in A tier. Eagle. Always been good. Incredible. You can pill it for an early tier 6, or you can just keep it to have a great summon unit. A. Lionfish. One of the new pets before the opponent attacks actually give it weakness. So really, really annoying, I would say. It's incredibly annoying to play against Lionfish. You have like a big peanut unit in the front. You've got a big melon guy. It eats the melon and gives it weakness. We all know weakness is very strong. So Lionfish A. Monkey also A. Used to be stronger. probably an S, but I think now that it's a 2-3 and lobster is leagues above monkey, there's no way it could be share the same tier. Moose, very good scaler. I would say it's about the same as monkey. The only problem with moose is you actually have to freeze stuff in the shop, which is kind of detrimental. But you can just freeze stuff in shop and then just buy a bunch of food. I mean, moose is great. We have hamster. Incredible. I think hamster used to be S tier. You could say that it's maybe B tier now that it's moved up to tier 5. However, I'm still going to leave it in A. It's instant value. You play it, you roll twice, you sell it, it's free. Like, it's always good. There's very little times where I don't pick up hamster. Like, if I can't get anything on board, then I don't pick it up. If I'm still looking for stuff, we get hamster in immediately. Shark, now that they buffed it, easy A tier. It is so good with summon units. I think this is all, I've been talking about it for so long too. That's all it ever needed was the 2 health. It could even be +1/+2, and I would still think that it would be extremely better than how it was before at +2/+1. So for that, A tier. Poodle, I'm glad they didn't make it permanent how it was. So I think before Poodle wasn't going to even buff other tier 5s. They had it just buffs. No, it could only buff 2, 3, 4, and 6, which was really weird. And I'm really glad they changed it back to just doesn't buff itself. A tier. About the same as Penguin, I would say. Slightly weaker actually, because it's a tier 5. Seal, amazing. Probably one of the best scalers as far as food goes. I don't think it belongs in S. It would probably be in high A, but it's absolutely incredible with squirrel, cat, rabbit. You get all these food pets online, and they synergize so well with each other. Turkey, easy A tier. Not as good as lobster, I don't think, because it's a tier higher. But it is basically lobster, except it works with summons in battle. So still incredibly strong. Used to be better, though. Used to be S tier, in my opinion. Vulture deals 2 damage to the enemy when a unit faints. So this works really well with summons, of course. However, you can't really have like a bunch of all these summon helpers on the team. You can only have so many. Summon, the main downfall of summon is that you don't have enough space on board. So... but it's still incredibly strong. Used to be stronger at tier 4, but they've been changing it around a bunch. Stuck it to tier 5, which I think is fine there. So A tier. Zebra, we talked about zebra. Basically the same as cow. It's a buy-sell. Amazing buy-sell. I don't think there's ever a time where I just don't buy-sell zebra. 2 gold for 4 stats. Or sorry, 2 gold for 8 stats. 2/2 when you buy it. And 2/2 when you sell it. Incredible. Mammoth. A tier for me. You can mushroom it. You can pill it. Very versatile. Gives big stats. I love it. Good stat line too. Snake. Always been really, really strong. With the addition of more summon pets, I think Snake just gets better and better. And then, of course, Pepper. You're like basically guaranteeing that it attacks multiple times. Snake is good. A tier. Spino. I think Spino's slightly better than Turkey, but it is a tier 6. So it gives +3/+2 when a unit faints. However, this also works when you pill something. So it goes along very well with a praying mantis, Spino, and shark build. Oh my goodness, dude. I feel like I've been nonstop talking for like, I don't even know how long. Over 50 minutes. Holy shit. My mouth is so dry. Going on to Tiger. Tiger's very similar to Parrot. Very flexible. However, it is a couple tiers above, so it'd probably be low A tier. Still incredibly strong. Ostrich. I used to think Ostrich was C tier. However, it can get you a 50/50 in like 2 to 3 turns. It's incredible. I was very surprised to see how fast it scaled up, and for that, I'm actually going to put it in A tier with Moose. Those two combo very well together. T-Rex. Always been good. It doesn't buff itself anymore, but +2/+1. You have to waste 3 gold in the end, but +2/+1 to everything. Pretty damn strong. It's like buying a snail every turn, which you definitely would. Let's move on to S tier. Finally, we're here in the S tier. Starting off with Sloth. You don't even... top of S tier. S+++ tier. Don't even need to ask me. Blobfish. Incredible. Absolutely busted. This unit should not be a tier 3. It should not give you plus one, and experience. So you get +2, +2. Yeah. Tell me how that isn't just absolutely broken. Another thing that I really like to do is level it up to level 2. And then you say you get a chicken, you pill it onto the chicken. It's an instant level 2 chicken. You can easily get a level 2 blobfish before turn 7 too. So incredibly strong. And same goes with clownfish. Absolutely ridiculous the amount of stats that you're getting. Even if you only level up one unit once, that's a better pair. That is 2 gold for +2, +2. That's only one unit once. I could level up 3 units. Then I'm just free. I'm just getting stats on stats on stats for free. Clownfish is busted. These two, they need to do something. Dog, don't know why they increased it to 3-3. Thought it was totally fine at 2-2, but I don't know. I think it's incredible. It's absolutely broken in custom packs. Buy sell is incredibly strong. However, in pack 1, pack 2, nope, it's still strong in that too. Turtle, best of the best. You're talking I can get a tier 6 food on turn 3 to 5? Yeah, you're fucking hilarious, dude. How is this thing not nerfed? That's all I gotta say. It should be tier 4. It could easily be tier 5 even. Don't think they'll do that though. Lobster, my man, making it all the way up to S tier. I think Lobster's ridiculous. Like, absolutely cracked. I don't know if they'll nerf it though. It is weird. It was like C tier at 2-2, and then it's S tier at 2-3. So, I don't know. I think it's because of the nerf to turkey. It just made Lobster that much better. But for now, he's going to stay in S tier. Chicken. Don't really need any more introduction than that, man. Chicken's just chicken. Chicken gods, man. 50-50 shops. Anything that can get you a 50-50 shop, man, is incredibly strong. So for that, chicken's going to be S tier for me. It's got really weak base stats. It's really weak when you first play it, but its potential is limitless. And I'm going to go the same with Lioness, except it's free. The only difference is that it's a tier 6 now. You can't get it as the same as chicken. Before it used to be tier 5. You know, one could say that Lioness probably belongs in A tier, but I'm going to keep it in S. I think just free stats. It's a free, better can every turn. That just sounds amazing to me. We got Cat in S tier. Cat's incredible. With all the new food that we've got going on, Cat just goes crazy. We're talking, you know, double cans. You're getting triple sushi for 2 gold with a squirrel. You've got seal on your team. Like, you're scaling faster than any penguin, monkey thing ever could. I think the only thing that might keep up with it is moose ostrich, but you'd have to have the whole shop frozen with tier 6 pets. So for that, Cat S tier. Alpaca, dude. Busted, cracked, absolutely insane. Don't know how they ever thought this unit was all right. Giving things experience for the freezebees, that's incredible. Probably top of S tier, in my opinion. Leopard, I'm actually going to keep Leopard in S tier. I think it's very strong. It's probably the lowest in S tier, I would say. Tier 6, deals 50% damage to a unit on the other side of or to an enemy. God, dude, I'm about to pass out, but I've only got a few more left to go through. 50% damage, tier 6, it's a 10-4. I learned that it's a 10-4 quite recently, and it's just amazing. You scale it up with like a stego, it just goes hard. You could argue that it belongs in A tier, though. Now, you can't argue with me that Octo belongs in A tier, because Octopus, now with the changes, absolute S tier, Giga Chad, 8-armed domination. Octopus is so good. It works with 1-up Tiger, and that shouldn't work. That's a bug, man, or something. Please fix that shit. I've lost too many games for that. Incredible. Pack 2, Annihilator. Custom pack Annihilator. It's just good. It combos with so many things, too. Stego. Incredible. I'm like, what else am I supposed to say about these top pets other than that they're fucking broken and they probably need to be fixed, or at least like slightly nerfed, dude. I don't know. Stego's incredible, amazing stat line. Gives you stats every turn equal to your turn number, so it's always getting better. Yeah, dude, Stego's incredible. And then White Tiger, we're going to end it off on probably one of the most broken units in the game. Give Pets Behind level 3. It's not 3 experience, just make it level 3. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, sure. Give me like 15 gold for free. I'll accept that. Is it 15? I don't know. I think it's 12. I don't know. I can't do math, dude. We're an hour in. I'm about to die. White Tiger is absolutely insane, though. It works with any unit that has an in-battle effect. The only thing that it has a problem with is being lower attack than, say, like a leopard. So if it has lower attack than the leopard will actually trigger before the White Tiger, making the level 3 useless. So that's the only problem it has, but I think other than that, it's incredibly fucking strong. Oh my god, we're finally done. Oh, that was so much. I thought I could do it a bit quicker, but I think I went off on a few too many tangents. Let me know what you think. If you disagree or agree with anything, please let me know. And keep in mind, like I said, C is the most average in my mind. D, E, and F are below average or just downright awful. And then B, A, and S are all pretty similar, slightly above average, way above average, and then absolutely busted. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you did. And you know what? Have a relaxing day, because God, I'm going to need it after this.